Welcome back to Smoke and Mirrors. We're your hosts, Rob and Triz. Today we have a very special presentation. Joining us is CGA Rising Star Raj Labade, star of Back of the Net, the 2023 official entrant into Cannes International Series Festival Appetite, and soon to be starring alongside Felicity Ward and past CGA Rising Star recipient Zoe Tarakis in the upcoming Australian version of The Office. He's no stranger to the stage or screen, and we couldn't be happier to chat to him. Raj, how are you feeling?
I'm great. Happy to be here.
Awesome. So my first question, how do you feel being named a CGA Rising Star?
Um, well, it's a bit weird. I didn't quite expect anything like that, but I think it was one of those things that's quite affirming,
Mm,
particularly in starting an industry where you don't get feedback. You don't get told if you got the job. You don't get told if you don't get the job. You only get told if you do get it, which is the minority of the time. So
yeah.
sort of hear that the casting guild is enjoying the work, and like it's a nod in the right direction, which is really nice. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. And also all the hard work and dedication that you've kind of put in since high school.
Mm.
Like the comedy sketches, the sort of which paid off. And all the performances that you've done sort of pursuing it. Yeah. Like that it must be awesome.
Yeah, it's very cool. It's very exciting.
Nice. And it definitely isn't your first rodeo when it comes to, I guess, starring in provocative roles, something like Appetite, the upcoming Demons film, as well as Fine Bone China. What
Mm.
intrigues you about these roles as well?
um well, I find, like, for the most part, when something's not exactly when something's a bit of a risk, I find it much more exciting. um particularly particularly when you're talking about indie films or theater. um the risk involved in that, the idea that you could fail miserably, is also the only thing that could make it possibly good. um
Hmm.
I think nothing's gained unless something's sacrificed. So um I think that's what attracts me to the roles where I do get to have my pick. Yeah.
Yeah, nice. It's very interesting seeing like a man of your age going for those roles at such a young age, I should say as well. Do you reckon it was a lot of like personal mentoring, or was it just something that you had in you that you were just like, you know what, I want to go kind of off center and do something different?
I don't know. I think I was lucky to fall into some things that were a bit off center. But I think I've always had quite a clear idea of what I want out of my work. And um, I think I've been like that since I was young, because like you guys mentioned, I did start doing sketch comedy and stuff like that when I was a kid. And I was the funny kid for a long time, and that frustrated me, so I wanted to do the opposite. And I think that's kind of where my curiosity has taken me. It's taken me to sort of not wanting to be one type of thing, and constantly taking myself outside of my comfort zone. Yeah.
Yeah, nice. Multifaceted, I can dig it.
I think, yeah, it was difficult. It was difficult to sort of make that shift, just from a skills point of view. But I think that's what it was. It was every time I'd get to choose something that I'd work on, it would be something that was slightly too hard to do, so it would stretch me. And
Mm,
that's probably comes from my mum and doing classical music when I was a kid. Because that's how you do the grades. You go from like grade one to A-mas, and A-mas is the pre-professional, essentially, where you can play most pieces of music.
Wow.
And so each grade has a certain amount of. There you go. There's my dad calling me. That's what that was. Um, each grade is a different level of difficulty for the music.
Okay.
You only play certain songs for grade one, and you can only play certain songs for grade eight. And so I think that's kind of how I treated acting monologues and scenes and things like that. I'd grade myself. Um, so I think
wow.
that's where the the pursuit of something more difficult and more challenging came from, probably.
That's amazing. So
A long answer, but I think that's what it was. Yeah,
perfect. I love it. Because when I did drama in high school, I hid in the toilets because I didn't want to jump in and space jump.
yeah.
But what are some clear influences and inspirations that you kind of bring to set each day? Like you have a toolbox of things, and you kind of, I'm going to need that today and this today, depending on the scene. What are some of those?
Well, I think for the most part, and this is something that I think, because we got taught so much stuff at drama school, so we got taught so many different like tools and techniques, and I never really used many of them. And it was often kind of, it was just, if you could relax and just be, that's much more preferable. But then on the days where you've had like 4 hours sleep, or you know, I mean, this didn't happen, but a family member's died, or, you know, something in your external world happens where you can't have control over your mental state. I think that's when those tools come in. That's when those tools are required in order to get yourself back to a point where it feels relaxed and real. So that's how I see those tools, and those would be anything from just meditation to even just like, how does my character walk, you know, basic physical mapping and all that sort of stuff. And I feel like those are almost like safety nets. It's like, in case all else fails, you have these structured approaches to the work that can help you get back on track.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Which I think is different to, I mean, I think a lot of actors start from a place of structure, and it's really helpful for them to feel like they have a process.
Right.
But I've always found the opposite. It's like, I only do what I feel is required, and everything else, if I could do less, that's better.
Okay.
Okay.
So you can focus on the character itself, getting the mannerisms, the headspace, everything, so you can just be that character on screen?
Well, I think just the second you overthink, particularly, I mean, for something like my most of my on-set experience was doing The Office, and particularly for that, the whole key to it is to not appear to be a character. You have to, it's doco style. You have to be as natural as possible. So the more layers I added on top of myself, the more it would be removed, and the more there'd be potential for the audience to be like, oh, that's not a real person. But I think that's where the approach comes from. It's about the naturalism first, and then building the character after.
Awesome.
Yeah, that's so cool. Now, like you've mentioned with, I guess, bringing in your reference to classical music as part of your personal delivery, do you feel like with your comedic delivery, because it's on point, it's amazing, like from what I saw in Appetite and previous things, do you feel like you channel something else personal with that as well?
I think just a love for comedic actors. I think I would impersonate Rowan Atkinson all the time.
Nice.
And I do scenes from, you know, his stand-up show, Rowan Atkinson Live, every year.
Brilliant.
For the school, so that was like, but I'd memorize his comedic timing. So I think that's, if anything, that's where comedic timing comes from for me. It's copying and then internalizing. And like there's a Michael Bublé quote where he later talks about, I love Michael Bublé, by the way.
No shade at all.
He talks about, like, he was talking to Tony Bennett, who's one of the greatest singers of that generation, and he goes, you can steal from everybody. If you steal from one person, you're a thief. But if you steal from everybody, it's research.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think that's a little bit of the comedic timing stuff. Yeah, being specific with it. Yeah.
Rowan Atkinson, what a legend.
Like, yeah, and he does it perfectly. He's like the Michael Jackson of comedy. Like, every single show he did was exactly the same.
Yeah.
And he laughs every single time.
Definitely. It's like perfect timing as well, because I've been getting a lot of like Rowan Atkinson in my feeds too. Like I was dying yesterday over the one where he's in the bathroom and he steals that guy's pants from under the bathroom stall. I was losing my mind yesterday.
Great stuff. This is genius.
Yeah, it really was. Um, so just getting into a little bit of Aretha Franklin daydreaming sort of vibe. So pretend you get a call on a Friday afternoon, right? It's your dream director, and they've got this part for you that's specifically being sort of put together just for you, Raj. Who is the director, and what really interests you about them?
Oh, I used to know the answer to this question. I don't know. I don't know. I think there's a lot of directors I'd like to work with. I think for a while it was Taika.
Ooh, yep.
I think that's just because he's just a master of pathos in comedy. Like
Yep.
the idea that you can like if you want to make the audience laugh or cry, you have to do the opposite first. So you have to cry to laugh and laugh to cry. Like I think he's amazing at story within really, really clever, silly comedy.
Yeah.
I think it would be someone like himself or yeah, I don't know. At the moment it's the focus is script, I think.
Right.
I think directors, there's so many amazing directors. But at the end of the day, the script is something that I feel like is the blueprint for whatever you end up doing.
Yep.
So,
so who's the screenwriter then? If you want to switch it up.
Bridge.
Sorry?
Pretty Well Bridge, like from Fleabag.
Ah, yeah.
Nice.
Yeah.
Simon Stevens. He's a playwright who's amazing. Yeah, I don't know. But I think people who understand that balance, and I think the best people do, Scorsese does, you know, it's the balance between comedy and drama, that you don't have to do a genre piece that's specific. It can, you've got to have laughter in a tragedy, and you've got to have the opposite. So yeah,
because that's real life, right? Like we're reflective of that. Where there's tragedy, there's also laughter, there's love, there's heartbreak, everything.
Absolutely. Yeah.
I dig that, man. That's sick.
Yeah. And do you have any like ambitions? Because you're making beautiful art in front of the camera now. And from what I've seen, correct me if I'm wrong, it says you are an associate producer for Demons as well. Do you have any other ambitions of like being behind the camera, making your art there, or anything else?
Yeah, well, John, who directed Demons, is a good mate of mine that I knew from Perth, and he's one of those people that's just so driven and so clever, and I ended up helping him cast the film, so he gave me a little nod on associate producer, but we ended up writing on stuff together as well, and I'm producing a film that we're shooting in January, that we're basically trying to build to a feature level production, and that's stuff that interests me, because that's also another thing, right, where I don't think there is going to be that call from a director where it's like, here's the perfect script and it's written for you. I mean, I've been very lucky so far to have worked and to be considered for all sorts of amazing things, but when it comes down to that role, that part that, you know, I feel like reflects the work I want to do, I've always been of the mind that I have to at least try and do it myself, because I've never expected anything. I've never expected that I'm owed anything by anyone in the industry. So I that's why we're doing that. We're making the work that we want to be in and we want to see in Australian cinema. So yeah.
That's awesome. Like it sounds like, and I know I've said it before, you're definitely very multifaceted. And you're coming from this approach, something like Donald Glover did with Community, how he was like doing a lot of his own background work, doing his A&R, things like that. And you've built like you've got fingers in all the pies now, so that whenever it comes to that position where it may not be the perfect script, but you can make it work and you can make it better than what it is, things like that.
Yeah, I think that's the goal, right? To just I don't like the idea of being someone that sits by the phone and waits. So I think even if it's, even if at the end of the day, I write stuff and it never gets made and it's just for me, like at least there's that feeling of capability that I could do something if I had the time and I wanted to.
Yeah.
But we're gonna
Raj, when you got that call that was saying you're in the office, you've been casted in that role, what's going through your head at that point?
I went, thank fuck. It'd been a year. It had been a year to the date that I auditioned.
Wow.
And they were going through all sorts of different people they wanted to cast, and I think I'd lost the role like twice before then. It just it wasn't quite going my way, and I obviously, like, myself and my agents didn't really understand what was going on. And then when I ended up speaking to Jackie, the writer and EP, she was like, "Oh no, we wanted you. We wanted you." That wasn't clear for 12 months. So,
wow.
It was definitely like, it was just a sigh of relief, because at that point I think I refused to. I went up with unsolicited tape at the very end of it, because my agents were like, "Just send it because they might still want to see you." And I almost said no, but I'm glad that they got me to, because ended up being pretty amazing. So yeah.
Yeah, 100%. 12 months is a long time to keep someone hanging on, man.
Yeah, so thank fuck was definitely the end of that. Yeah.
Oh man.
Definitely.
Was there any activity that you did after that just to sort of like celebrate that it's done, it's dusted? Because that's a huge load off your shoulders. Like me, I will sit down.
When I got cast, you mean?
Yeah.
I think I wanted to, but I was doing a pretty intense play at the time, so I kind of just went and did the show that night. So I think that was
straight back to work.
Yeah, pretty much.
Oh man.
Do you reckon, I don't know if you can say much about it with the Australian office, but do you reckon you're going to be very different to the UK and the US like variants?
I mean, you'd hope so, because I think it has to be different in order to have any chance of competing with those mammoth shows. And not that it really needs to compete with them, but it needs to, not be eclipsed by them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I don't know. I think the fact that we have a female lead, which is, it's not just a diversity choice by the casting or anything like that. Like, Felicity is genuinely hilarious, and it adds a different dynamic to the office than in the previous iterations. And I think the fact that it's set in an office in Australia, and it's our accents, and the world is, without revealing too much, the world is, newer. It's reflecting a more current office climate as well. And it's, I think if we've done our job well, then it will feel quite Australian, which will be a positive thing. Yeah.
Yeah, 100%. I'm really looking forward to it. Raj, I'm sorry, that's all the time that we have with you today.
I apologize for being late. I was contemplating making a smoothie at that point, and then I got
What flavor though? What flavor? I have to ask.
There was going to be a lot of fruit in it.
Nice.
It was either that or make some eggs. So, right, guys.
Well, we won't delay.
Yeah, you haven't they? Yeah.
But thank you so much for your time today. We wish you all the best for the future, for the office, and the journey ahead. And hopefully, we can catch up one day again when you're cast in that Taika movie or wherever else. But yeah, thank you so much. It's been an honor.
Awesome. Thank you, guys. Appreciate it.
Thanks so much, Raj. Appreciate it.